Welcome to The Explainer. If you're a busy professional, someone with serious drive, big vision, and, a real desire to boost your career productivity, you've probably hit this incredibly frustrating wall. You want to move forward, you absolutely want to grow, but for some reason, you just feel stuck, like completely stuck. Today, we're unpacking this fascinating, totally counterintuitive idea from evolutionary science. Turns out, feeling stuck in your career isn't a sign of laziness. It's not a lack of discipline or bad time management. It is literally your biology doing exactly what it was designed to do.
Okay, so let's dive right into this. Have you ever just felt like your career is standing completely still? I mean, really think about those stalled ambitions of yours for a second. Think about that major project you've been meaning to pitch, or maybe that career pivot you've been daydreaming about, or even just a new skill you know for a fact would make you totally indispensable at the office. You know exactly what you need to do to level up, and yet somehow you're just frozen in place. Well, first off, you are definitely not alone in this. Think about all those unmet ambitions we all carry around. Starting a side business, building better daily habits, learning a high-value skill, or just completely transforming your work life. It's maddening, right? Because you know the exact steps you need to take, but you just watch the weeks and months slip right on by. And what's even worse, you log online and see everyone else crushing it. You see peers launching startups, snagging promotions, mastering new tech, and there you are, feeling anchored to the exact same spot. And then we hit ourselves with the most universal excuse in the modern professional's toolkit. I'll start tomorrow. It's almost a cliche at this point, isn't it? We literally tell ourselves this all the time, hoping some magical lightning bolt of motivation is going to strike us at dawn. But look, I want to validate exactly what you're feeling right now. Using that excuse, it doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're lazy or unmotivated. The issue isn't your work ethic at all. It actually points to a much deeper biological function. You are basically walking around with a brain that was built for a completely different world. Which brings us to part one of our explainer, the ancient brain which is built to survive, not to grow. To really get a handle on this, we need to travel back, about 80,000 years. We need to look at the ancient evolutionary hardware that is literally still running the show inside your head today. Back then, everyday life was, highly uncertain. Predators were absolutely everywhere, and an uncertain food supply that could literally be fatal. Stepping into unknown territory was a massive life-or-death gamble. Now contrast that with today. The unknown for us means applying for a new job, starting a business, or asking for a promotion. But here's the wild part. Your ancient brain, it does not know the difference. It treats the risk of sending a slightly scary networking email with the exact same life-or-death panic as running into a hungry saber-toothed tiger. No joke. Because in that ancient, super dangerous world, the humans who survived weren't always the bravest. They weren't the adventurous risk-takers. Actually, they were usually the most cautious. So over thousands of generations, this ridiculously simple, risk-averse rule got hardwired into our evolutionary software. The rule is basically this. If what you're doing right now is keeping you alive, do not change it. And that ancient instinct, it is still living inside you right now, actively fighting to keep you from taking any professional risks. And honestly, this totally changes how we need to think about the comfort zone. We throw this corporate jargon around all the time, right? But the comfort zone is not about lounging on a plush sofa in sweatpants. It is a deep, biological craving for predictability, not actual physical comfort. Your brain prefers familiar situations because they just require way less energy to navigate and survive. This is exactly why you might stay in a job you hate or stick to a totally inefficient workflow. Even if it makes you miserable, it's predictable. Your brain is just quietly humming in the background saying, hey, I know this place. I know exactly how to survive here. So you end up locked in this constant mental tug of war. Choice A, stay exactly where you are with a known predictable problem. Or choice B, start something completely new but with an uncertain outcome. Now logically, as an ambitious professional, you know choice B is how you advance your career. But emotionally, oh man, your ancient brain treats that uncertainty as a massive red alert threat. It will strongly prefer a known hardship over a totally unpredictable opportunity. Staying stagnant just emotionally feels so much safer than taking that first scary step towards something better. And that perfectly sets up section 2, fear disguised as logic. Okay, be honest. Have you ever caught yourself saying these exact phrases during your workday? I'm just waiting for the right time to launch this. Or, I just need a little bit more information before I can really make this career pivot.
To a smart, ambitious worker, these sound like incredibly reasonable, highly strategic decisions. You might literally spend months researching, planning, and waiting for the stars to perfectly align before you finally make your move. But here's the absolute kicker, the crucial point we really need to grasp here. This is simply fear wearing a very clever mask of logic. Your brain is insanely good at creating these convincing, hyper-rational excuses to just avoid the risk of actually starting. I mean, it feels incredibly intelligent to wait for more data, doesn't it? But underneath all that impressive professional strategizing, yeah, it's just your ancient brain desperately trying to keep you safe from the terrifying uncertainty of taking action. So let's look at how all this evolutionary baggage collides with the modern workplace. Moving to section 3, modern traps, specifically dopamine and the comparison game. See, your brain evolved to heavily value immediate opportunities. Back in the day, acting quickly on a food source meant you survived. Today, modern tech totally exploits this ancient loophole. Checking a notification, firing off a super quick, easy email, or just mindless scrolling. That gives your brain a fast, effortless hit of dopamine. But your real, meaningful career goals, like building a business from scratch or mastering a really complex new skill, those require delayed effort. You have to grind for a long time before you see any real reward. So without you even realizing it's happening, your ancient brain just naturally yanks your attention toward instant satisfaction, pulling you completely away from the deep work that actually moves your career forward. And then, oh boy, we have the comparison trap. Early humans survived by watching others in their tribe and just copying whatever worked. It was a brilliant, vital survival tool. But today, professional networking sites and social media have completely hijacked this instinct. You are bombarded all day, every day, with endless highlight reels, promotions, huge funding rounds, pristine, perfect successes. But instead of motivating you, your brain tries to process this impossible amount of comparison and just generates deep, exhausting discouragement. But don't worry, fortunately, you can absolutely outsmart your biology here. Let's get into section 4, the micro-step solution, and how to finally break free. The core philosophy here is wonderfully simple. Your brain does not need giant, intimidating leaps. Actually, you can't shock your ancient brain into submission by trying to completely overhaul your career overnight. Doing that just triggers that exact life or death threat response we've been talking about. Instead, your brain desperately needs small evidence that change is safe. You have to gently, quietly prove to your biology that taking a step forward isn't going to, end your life. So in real life, what does this actually look like? It means taking actionable micro steps, starting right now. Want to learn a complex new skill? Do not commit to a massive 50-hour online course today. Just read one page of a book. Need to clear your head to focus on a big pitch? Step away and walk for exactly 5 minutes. Are you absolutely terrified of reaching out to a major client or a potential mentor? Just draft and send one single email. That's it. Every tiny, microscopic success teaches your ancient brain that, hey, look, nothing bad happened. And slowly but surely, you start replacing that biological fear with familiarity. And that brings us to what I think is literally the most vital takeaway of this entire explainer. Confidence grows because of action, not before it. Let me say that again. Confidence comes after the action. So many professionals sit around waiting to magically feel confident before they launch a new venture or before they apply for that huge promotion. But your biology demands the exact opposite. Taking action is the biological prerequisite for making the unknown feel safe and known. The action itself is literally what builds the confidence. So I'm going to leave you with one final, pretty provocative question to chew on today. Are you going to let your primitive survival instincts decide your future? Your mind is carrying around software shaped by a terrifying world that literally does not exist anymore. It is always, always going to whisper for you to stay put, to stay where it's predictable and safe. But true explosive career growth, it has always required stepping into the unknown. The greatest prison isn't your current dead-end job or your circumstances. It's letting ancient biology run your modern career. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and my challenge to you today is simple. Go take one micro step into the unknown. You've got this.